You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 256. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Jeff Barnard, president of the Superboy fan club of Smallville.
Comic Reflections is brought to you by The Outhouse. You can find our show and other nifty content at theouthousers.com. And if you enjoy this program, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher.
All right.
So, I made a little faux pas regarding the issues we're going to talk about today. When it came time to write down the art and writing credits, I came up with a situation where the internet was down. So there will be following this episode, there will be a slight addendum, audio addendum that I'll add in later. I'll have Sean, our producer, add in later, rather, giving the art and writing credits. But we will persevere and carry on with these comic books. So, the first issue we're going to talk about today is Superboy number 107 from September of 1963. And the lead story, Jeff talked about in the intro, it's the Superboy Club of Smallville.
Yay. Oh, I love this.
This is fun.
All right. Starting off, Marvel doesn't do this. I don't. Maybe a Yancey Street Gang.
That's the
club
closest
or something
thing, but
yeah, but that's about it. And there's a bunch of times I remember where the fan club, or the Superboy's pal Jimmy Olsen's fan club, which is how lame is that? Is that you're not a fan of you're not a club of fans of Superman, but his pal.
Who is that dork who just bumbles into these crazy things that happen to him?
But I would love to be in that club, and because crazy things happen, and the clubs are, I mean, in DC world, they're important. I mean,
it's so weird. DC is all about trophy collections from previous cases, fan clubs, crazy stuff like this, and Marvel doesn't do that. And I kind of think I like it that way, that they're so different. I talk about this a lot. But I like that, DC is about Jimmy Olsen marrying an ape, and Marvel is about feelings and punching.
Yeah.
And great cosmic epics. And I love that. I love the strange squareness of DC Comics and the complexity. In their universe is very interesting. And the multiverse and traveling between worlds and all that stuff. It's just neat. Yep. Or crashing through the time barrier or the Phantom Zone. That stuff is nuts. Yep. Marvel doesn't do any of that stuff, really. But the differences are appreciable.
Yeah.
So I think I like the groundedness and the straightforwardness of Marvel. They feel like real people. DC is this otherworldly strangeness that is oddly wholesome, but also unsettling sometimes. So anyway.
It's like, I don't know, watching David the Beaver on acid or something, It's it's an odd juxtaposition of super square and super surrealistic. Sort of, I love it. This is Silver Age, Superman family stuff, and I love that.
Yeah, because this is 1963, so yeah.
Yeah, and
the height of the Silver Age. This is the height of Superman's glory.
And that's my golden age as comics. This is what I love. If I can only read one comic era and one family of comics, this would be it.
Silver Age Superman family?
Yeah.
I think I could live with that because it's just so nuts. I mean, and I love it. They're really fun.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this story.
Okay. The Superboy Club of Smallville.
I think we mentioned that.
Yeah. All right. Clark is working at the store, and
the general store, run by Pa Kent.
Yeah. What is the name? Is it the Kent?
And when did it go from them being farmers to running a general store?
I was thinking about that. I think them in a store, more stuff happens.
Okay.
Because, nothing much happens on a farm. People don't, hey, let's go rob this farm.
Right.
It's not across on the bank.
I get it. And then the general store being in the center of town or whatever, it leads to lots of things happening in Smallville. And in the you have to remember, in the pre-crisis Superman, the Kents are dead by the time he becomes Superman.
Yeah. That's really sad, too. Because,
But, and I think it's really the early, 30s and 40s stories where they were also dead before He became Superman. But those stories, it's their farmers, and then that kind of gets faded out. And as we really get into the Silver Age, it's, the general store thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in the Kent farm, they could still have the Kent farm, but, like, you could be a farmer but not be, like, a huge commercial farmer.
Yeah, but they definitely live in the suburbs now.
What do you mean, in current comics?
And this one here.
Oh, in this? Yeah. But post-Crisis, where they had the Kents still alive when he's Superman, because they eliminated the ever being a Superboy, they're farmers. They're not running a general store. Which, like, okay, you're going back to other tropes of Superman and whatever. I don't have a real problem with it, but it's interesting to contrast the Kents.
Okay. In the story, Randy Smith, who I never heard of and never hear again, comes in the store, and he's wearing a Superman outfit.
Yeah.
And he is not a handsome young boy.
Yeah, he's a goofy-looking kid, and he's like, this guy's like 13.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course he's going to be gawky-looking.
Yeah. So, there's a new club, the Superboy Club, and they are redoing or reenacting Superboy super feats.
Yeah.
And so
Randy wants Clark to film him on like a little 8mm camera, kind of seemingly reenacting a feat Superboy did of opening a bank vault when the bank teller was locked in, so he wouldn't and was gonna suffocate.
Yeah, and they do it, and Clark thinks it's ridiculous, and he says, "Well, I need to meet this guy, the coach, who is leading this on."
And he's a new coach at Smallville High. How convenient and suspicious.
Yeah, indeed. Especially since he has supervillain mustache.
Yeah. Also, so Clark and Randy go to the Smallville, the gymnasium at the high school, and there she sees all these his schoolmates in Superboy costumes, fat kids, short kid, whatever.
They're all none of them are particularly handsome.
No.
And that's why Superboy is supposedly the only handsome Superboy on these other ones.
Right, but also what's weird, I think it's just a contrast in how people have different facial features, okay? But also the contrast is, or the weird thing is suspicious is the gym coach's wife is right there with him.
Yeah.
Why?
Actually, why is she in it? So she turns out to be a gun mall.
Yeah, whatever.
And why is she in the story at all, except to criticize or for exposition?
That's why. You just answered it.
Yeah, that could almost be an Alfred E. Newman.
Yeah, there's a short little redhead kid with buck teeth. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. Clark has super memory, which would be great. And
yeah, but he remembers the gym coach as Jippo Kelsey.
Which is a great name.
Yeah, and I can't remember what is the alias he's going under in Smallville as. It doesn't really matter.
Coach Reynolds.
Okay.
Yeah. So we already know he's a crook. So what he did, he had Clark film the bank president opening up the safe, and he got the combination.
Right.
Which is fairly clever.
Yes, it is.
I'm sure the bank president's going to thinks nothing's up, and these are a couple of middle school, high school kids. I don't know what they are.
I think it's high school.
So, they're happy they got that, and then here comes the fat Superboy, and Superboy uses X-ray vision and notices scientist was having a heart attack. Oh no, he had a forgotten war wound shrapnel. So he gets that out. So they put the for the reenactment, they put him behind an X-ray screen, which I never have seen these in real life. Usually, someone takes a picture, and you don't get behind a screen and be able to point. I think if they're too dangerous, whatever.
Right.
So, they take a picture of the X-ray screen of the scientist.
Yeah.
The X-ray took a picture of the key that was around this scientist, and
in his waistcoat.
Yeah.
So they could make a copy of it.
Which is darn clever.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
So here's a classic DC trope: overcomplicated plan. But this kind of works. This works okay. It's not so ridiculous that he's using the front of the Superboy Club to get this information. Because all these things that Superboy did is like made the papers. So this guy saved this stuff and got ideas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the next thing happens. Clark talks to the coach, and the coach knows that Clark is a friend of Superboy.
Yeah.
So he says, you can come by tomorrow and help if it's not raining.
And the weather report says it's going to be cloudy and rainy because he doesn't want Clark around there. Because he doesn't want Superboy to get wind of his plans via Clark.
Which is clever, too.
Yeah, this guy's really thinking about all the angles.
Actually, I wouldn't. But the clever thing is not to be in Smallville, but
Right.
he actually needs this, though.
Right.
Because it needs to be Superboy things. He should have waited till Superboy was in the other dimension or something.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah. But
So-
because his identity is secret, how are you going to know when he's
Right.
in another dimension? So Superboy uses his heat vision to clear up the clouds, causing a horrible environmental disaster.
Yay!
But anyway, he makes it a sunny day, and so he can try out for the Superboy Club. And then this gets wacky.
Yeah. He reenacts Superboy throwing a ball of kryptonite on top of a building, which didn't happen. So Superboy is kind of suspicious.
Yeah.
But he's already suspicious. So
Right. And so, but he wears balloons to help him float like Superboy.
yeah, which never
No.
works.
But it's a comic book.
Yeah. Although somebody put, I think they're atmosphere testing balloons, and they attach it to a lawn chair, and he floated up
Yeah,
way up, and so
Yeah, that really happened.
yeah.
Um,
And yeah, it was stupid, but that's really cool too.
yeah. Also, okay, the fake kryptonite had a listening device in it.
Right.
So he got
And
it
a
on.
radio transmitter as well.
Yeah. So that's up on the roof, and then Clark chickened out to hold up the ruse of Clark being a weenie.
And Superboy comes and throws the kryptonite up there. So now, the whole thing is so the radio and listening device can listen in on the armored car carriers. They're going to plan their routes secretly, and
Yeah, and so, but if criminals have that information, then they know when to hold up the armored car.
and where.
Yeah, so then Jippo and wife sell this information to the underworld. They have an auction.
Which is brilliant.
It is brilliant.
I was impressed.
Yeah, this was great. And so they're going to get all this dough and then hightail it out of town.
I love the picture of the auction and the backs of the criminals, and it looks really good.
It's very well done.
Yeah, okay. Well, they sold, and what a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
So they sell a bunch of stuff for a lot of money, 75,000, 100,000. That's a lot of dough back then. It's a lot of dough now.
Yeah, so I think they're walking away with like $250,000 or $500,000. So,
Easy.
So pretty good.
Yeah.
And so they're gonna bail. Oh, by the way, Superboy thwarts all the criminal plans of the bad guys, who I guess they enacted as soon as they got the information. They jumped into going after it right then, which is kind of dumb.
Yeah, although
For the sake of a comic book story, you need it.
the armored cars you had to.
Right.
You had no choice because it's
You need to act on it right then. But the other stuff was like, the key to what the scientist's formula cabinet, and the other one with the bank code. Like, you didn't have to do that second.
right.
But whatevs.
Yeah, no, he got it. And because he tells Jippo, I still like that name, that I can't see through lead, but I can hear through lead. And his wife says, "Shut up, stupid."
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because he thought he had every angle figured out. Superboy busts them when they're about to skip town.
Yeah.
And then confronts them with that. And so they're going to go to jail. But did they commit a crime? They had this information that they sold.
Huh.
Is that conspiracy?
That's... Well, they were helping commit a crime.
Okay.
If I found the key to your house and I sold it to somebody, I'm still
I think this falls into conspiracy, or they are definitely involved, however indirectly.
Yeah.
But there's a case. But it was interesting because it's not like they got the information, then stuck up these places or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that was darn cool. I enjoyed
what
this.
happened to the Superboy Club after that?
He
did they carry on?
he said that's a great idea, even though a bad guy thought of it. So I'm going to make her a Superboy club fan club hideout. So
Yeah, it's better than the Honeycomb Hideout.
yeah.
Oh,
they're going to have more Superboy club stories. Yay!
cool.
Yeah.
Hey, cool house ad with these 80-page giants. There's a giant Superman annual and giant Batman annual.
Yeah. Superman's mystery power, origin of Batman's Superman team, Superman's first wife, and when Superman became president. Did we read that?
We read that, and we read the Superman's mysterious power.
Yeah, okay.
Because the new power was that weird one where he had the mini Superman shoot out of his hands.
Oh, God, that was weird.
It was weird. Well, also was the one where Jimmy knocked himself on the head and dreamed that Superman became president.
Oh, yes.
This was
that
wonderful.
was great. Okay.
Yeah, and then what's happening in the giant Superman annual?
There is giant Batman, the grown-up boy wonder. He's wearing wings. The power that doomed Batman. Zebra Batman, Phantom Batman, Rip Van Batman. And Merman Batman.
Oh, I had a friend when I was a kid. He had the original comic of the giant Batman, not the reprint. Mm-hmm. And it was my first encounter with Silver Age wackiness. Mm-hmm. Like that, and I was like, "What the? How did Batman become a giant?" Like I didn't know that things were so weird back then. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, I would love to read that story.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we will someday.
Maybe we will. Yeah. So the first of a couple backup stories in this is, excuse me,
the Great Baroni.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Just add add an I to anything, and you got the Great Bernhardy. Okay. Superboy has a pal in class who's really sad. And it finds out that his father is a failed magician.
Yeah.
I got a ton. That happens all the time. So.
Literally all the time. And vaudeville is definitely dead. Even, 1963? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of... magicians...
Television killed this crap.
Yeah. Especially in television, you think it's going to be fake anyway. So...
Right.
And some of them do cheat by using TV stuff, but you're not supposed to.
Right.
And magicians, they're fooling you. It's kind of evil, but no, they're doing it.
But you're going of your own will. I'm going to see tricks. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's going to look like, things. So
I'm not saying it's...
you mean that sorcerer was a fraud?
Yeah. No, it's using trickery and all that stuff. Yeah. But I do enjoy magicians and all that stuff. But I was thinking...
it's neat.
Yeah. It's... But they're not telling the truth. They can't. But, yeah.
So anyway, the Great Baroni is super sad, and he skips town and leaves his son $10 and a note.
Well, $10 is a lot of money back. It's probably $100, but still, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, he's lost his mojo.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. How Dracula got his groove back.
Yeah.
But so anyway, then he skips town, and Superboy finds him in a frozen train car.
In a refrigerated freight car, which, man, when you open the door, oh, it's cold, and I'll be able to get another one.
Well, if you're hopping a freight train, sometimes you just jump in the car, because you have to do this quickly. It's super dangerous.
Oh, yeah. It's...
People used to do it all the time, but I have heard
buddies doing.
I have heard multiple stories from like punk rock kids who'd ride the rails or whatever to get to skip town, and like I've heard multiple stories of like kids getting killed and maimed doing it because they got crushed by the cargo inside a container or pinched between a thing because you have to do certain kind of stuff. It's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, and
don't ride the rails, kids.
Yeah. The idea, how heavy that is, the wheels to the rail, it just creeps me out kind of. It's got to be tremendous.
Well, and it's not just the wheels you got to worry about. It's the hopping into the car itself.
And the hobos.
Yeah. Right. But, sometimes you can think of, there's also really exciting stories of the Great Depression, people riding the rails, and, it does sound cool and adventurous, but it is super dangerous. you're putting your life in terrible risk.
Yeah. So don't do it, kids.
Yeah.
Which makes that sounds like fun. But,
don't do it.
Yeah.
Like I can watch a movie about people riding the rails and get the same thrill and have no risk of injury to myself.
Yeah. Oh well. But so Superboy saves him from the refrigerated freight car
and gives an adult a pep talk and tries to get him a job. He does.
And he closes the refrigerated door afterwards.
He's very conscientious.
Yeah.
That's Superboy.
Which I thought it was kind of cool.
So the cargo doesn't get spoiled.
Yeah.
That's nice of Superboy.
Okay. Here's a Batman segue. They used the in the show in the 60s. They had the parachute break.
The bat chute.
Yeah. And they used it the first time, and they got all these letters. What about all that littering and all that stuff? So they made a bat parachute van to pick it up and for the next shows, and it was hilarious.
That's right, because they used it to stop after going at jet speed or whatever, because he'd fire the jets and slow it down, and they'd cut it loose. Is that so? They were talking about littering. Yeah. That's funny. But what I was thinking is like, do they turn off the jets and then pop the bat chute? Because otherwise, the flame from the jet wouldn't that burn up the chute? Okay.
I guess.
Every time when I was growing up, my father pop the trunk. My dad said pop the bat chute.
Wow.
Every time. Okay.
You know how many times? Hell of a man.
No. But anyway, but you know how many times in a young lifetime, you have your father say pop the trunk? And you're a family, you've got the family vehicle 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
Without fail, pop the bat chute. This is my father.
Yeah.
The cornball. Okay, anyway.
There's actually a meme now, dad jokes. So, but
yeah, this is definitely dad jokes.
Yeah. All right. So Superboy gets him a gig, and it's a charity thing. So I don't know why he's so worried. It's a charity thing, so it's not that big a deal.
Well, but people
and Smallville, small, which means the opposite of big. Bill. So,
look. It's a comic book, and a charity event. People either see it and like, oh, you do well in one venue, maybe people want to book you somewhere else. So there are some stakes on this. He needs to have his career come back.
Right.
So anyway,
but so Superboy's there and I'm saying, oh man, he is fluffing it. He is messing up bad.
Yeah.
And he actually puts a real bullet back into a revolver. And
you got to explain it up a little more.
Okay.
Just the tricks, because you need a little more backup.
One of the tricks is...
So he borrows a gun from Chief Parker and takes the bullets out, and then he's going to shoot somebody.
With a blank. But
he accidentally loads a real bullet back in.
Yeah.
So Clark volunteers to be the person who gets shot, and then he swallows the real bullet.
Yeah, he catches it in his mouth. Yeah, which is pretty... Because he didn't want to bounce off his chest, because then people know he's Superboy.
Right.
Yeah. So, but Clark acts all scared, and so everyone still thinks it's Clark.
Do we have to tell all these tricks? Because there's like 5 of them, and they're... Oh.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
But anyway, Clark goes through a variety of tricks saving this guy's ass because he's blowing it big time.
Yeah, and finally he gets his mojo back at the very end.
Yeah.
But you don't know he does. He just says he has. So, okay, I trust him.
Yeah.
And
because he didn't know Superboy is helping him.
Right. But there's no earth-shattering calamity happening.
Yeah.
Or a smarty-pants criminal trying to outsmart Superboy.
Yeah.
It's a Superboy doing a good deed. And I hope when I get superpowers, I'll act the same way.
When I get powers, I'll remember what it was like to be human.
But it's a sweet little story. And that's...
It is nice. And it's like that the whole point of Superman is this guy who could conquer the world. He could rule with an iron fist, but he doesn't care about any of that. But what he does care about is other people. Even his enemies, their lives matter to him.
Yeah.
And, even when he's got to fight Brainiac or Bizarro or Luthor, he doesn't want to hurt them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
So, I mean, that's something.
Yeah. Oh, Lana Lang was real suspicious.
Surprise!
That made my heart sing when I see it. Oh,
that Lana.
I've often suspected Clark is secretly Superboy. I don't know.
It's every story.
It's the first time ever. So, oh, really? I had no idea he was suspicious.
Yeah.
But I adore it. Well, it's maybe.
Well, I mean, it's so funny you can't even say it with a straight face.
I know. And she's got a little.
She's knitting her brow, you know. Yeah.
She's got a Zelda look from. Oh crap!
Zelda look. From
yeah,
the video
from.
game?
No, from. Oh, it's with the original Beatnik, Maynard G. Krebs.
It's the loves of the many loves of Dobie Ghost.
Yeah, yeah. And Zelda was the. I thought she was really cute on the show.
I've never seen this program, but
that's okay. Oh, Maynard G. Krebs is the first Beatnik on TV.
Right.
The G stands for Walter.
Okay.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's pretty funny.
And it was, but she's got that looking. But yeah, what a sweet story. I love this. So
it's nice.
And I don't have to have a fist thrown every thing.
No, that's nice. But hey, talk about this cool house ad with Jimmy Olsen.
Meets Cleopatra. Wow. And the monster from Krypton. Wow. And then the Legion of Substitute Heroes declares war on the Legion of Superheroes. Man.
The subs fight the Legion. Oh, yeah, that's great. No, that's not the Civil War of the Legion. That's another story, but it's another one. These are coming attractions in Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, in Action Comics, and in Adventure Comics.
Yeah.
Man, and I love this period. It's so rad.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's great.
So the next, I think this is the last story in this issue, right?
Yeah.
It's Clark Kent, the super show-off.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay.
This one is really enjoyable as well.
Mm-hmm. First panel, we see... Clark lifting up the police car. Clark, not Superboy, but Clark.
Yeah, he's in his dorky red sweater and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I feel stupid. Now, I read this and I didn't notice this big glowing red rock, which in the background.
Yeah, in like it's panel 2, it's like, okay, duh, red kryptonite.
Yeah, and I didn't see it until right now.
Spoilers, that should tell you where this is heading.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't see it.
Right, carry on.
Clark is in school. They're doing a experiment. The experiment's about to go wrong, and then Clark says, "Careful, everyone! One of my superpowers reveals an explosion's coming, and it blows up, and he saves the day
by standing in front of the explosion, protecting everyone."
As Clark.
Yeah.
And then Clark says, "Oh, who cares? I'm really Superboy. Bye," and then he flies off. Oh, and here are some gangsters with some kryptonite, which is the universe's most common element.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, Krypton was a big planet. I know.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, as these gangsters are coming into Smallville, Krypto flies by, and he falls out of the air.
Mm-hmm.
With a big whomp.
Yeah. Yep.
He's only in these 2 panels, I think. Or 3, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Back at the general store.
Here comes Clark. He flies in, and his parents are really concerned, and he says, so what, Dad?
And he uses his hand, he karate chops slicing meat for the people. Like, even if you had superpowers, your hand is not thin enough to cut meat.
Yeah.
He would turn it into mush.
Unless it's for Fred Flintstone, for a Bronto burger or something. It's sort of...
Well, since you put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So, the parents are real concerned, but...
he doesn't give a crap.
Yeah.
And then some random guy says, Clark Kent, Superboy? Incredible.
Gosh.
And he's got like that Leo Gorsey goofy-looking hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, man. So, Clark takes Superboy's statue away and puts his own.
Which is bigger, too.
Yeah. Clark Kent, Superboy's alter ego.
Yeah. I love how the Clark Kent statue he makes larger.
Yeah. And,
so then we get, the news is getting around that Clark Kent is Superboy, and we get a panel of Lex Luthor from jail.
Yeah. Who could ever believe that Milksop was a boy of steel? He sure pulled the wool over my eyes.
And then, of course, Pete Ross, who knows that Clark is Superboy. Well, I've already known, but I still won't say anything about it.
Yeah. So here's, we get why he disguised himself. Some people try to kill Mom, Pa Kent, and
Clark melts the bullets with his heat vision.
I love this. Fortunately, I spotted the criminal while I was on patrol. My Clark Kent heat vision is melting the bullets before they can harm you. I love that. It's not Super anymore. It's Clark Kent.
Right.
Power. Man.
Oh, man, I love this crap.
Yeah, so he's worried about his parents, so he takes them to a deserted island. All right, you stay here and go back to Smallville.
Now, there's plenty of, food for them to eat, but they're like, no, we don't want to live here. This sucks.
Yeah, there's no TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he goes back to Smallville and acts like a big shot.
And he goes to a dance, and he
blows off Lana.
Yeah, and he danced with 5 girls at one time. I guess it's lucky this isn't Heavy Metal magazine. Who knows what would happen?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, and Lana's, I should never forgive. Clark will never forgive me for not showing him more interest in him before he revealed himself as Superboy.
Yeah.
And
it's like it's a panel with her crying.
Yeah.
And I realized so much of superhero comics end up absorbing a lot of the tropes of romance comics.
Oh.
And it might be why I have the fondness for them. You'll see them in the Superman family of books. You'll see, the heavy romance in Silver Age Marvel stuff. And I'm like, when I read a romance comic, it's just like that, only without the superheroes.
Why? Why do? I would think, if I was a comic book executive, we don't want that mushy stuff in ours. This is for 8-year-old boys, but. I don't know. Their sisters might be reading
Some of it needs to real life in some way. Because if it's totally alien, why would you care?
I would like to know the makeup of who read these things, and I'd like to know how many boys, how many girls, how many white people, black people.
It was probably a wide demographic.
Yeah.
Man,
that's the word. I don't know, and some of just like that would appeal to girls.
Those Superman family of books were like the #1 seller among superhero books.
Yeah.
So they were certainly getting something right.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy them now. So wee.
Yeah, but Clark Kent here is a jerk.
He is.
Yeah. I'm the mightiest boy in the universe.
So screw all of you, basically.
And then he's flying over an admiring throng and he says, "Oh, what am I doing? I just really messed up everything." Then he thought, "Oh, that glowing red rock." I would have a law, Mr. President, can you pass a law against glowing red rocks? He said,
I don't know if that could be enforceable.
No. Well, there's a lot of things unenforceable, but still against the law.
Okay. So, anyway, he goes back to the Kents and picks him up from the desert island. He's like, look, it was red kryptonite, but I got a way to fix this. I got a plan. So criminals show up in his front door with kryptonite.
Yep.
And he's unaffected by it. So they're like, oh, what? And he takes off a mask, the Clark Kent mask. He's like, I was just tricking everyone into thinking I was Clark Kent.
Yeah.
It was all part of a scam to flush you mugs out. Of course, he doesn't say mugs, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Which is a smart plan.
But they knew it's real kryptonite because they tested on crypto, and it's not working against him.
Yeah. So they go to jail, and then we find out Clark had a thing in it. Oh, Lana and Luthor, by the way, are like, laughing. Of course Clark couldn't be Superboy.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah. So then Clark explains this to Ma and Pa Kent. How come the kryptonite didn't affect you? He had a compartment in his belt that sprayed out lead to coat it that would protect him.
Yeah, green luminous lead paint.
How come he hasn't used this every time ever?
Yes.
Before or since?
Yeah, duh.
Because that would solve the problem of kryptonite, basically.
Yeah. I mean, you can put his outfit can have a belt.
Well, yeah, if he can have a secret compartment in his cape, a pocket in his cape to put all his regular clothes, he can have a little belt compartment for this.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, did you see this ad?
Why are you talking about this?
I never heard of Tootsie Roll Fudge, but great masterpieces. This piece of artwork, and then the Tootsie Roll Fudge, and I thought, lame.
Pieces of candy. Yeah, it is super lame.
Yeah.
Okay. So, pretty fun issue.
Indeed.
All right. So yes, me too. Before we talk about our next issue, we're going to take a quick promotional break, and
Star Wars, give me those Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars, don't let them end. Star Wars, those near and far wars, talking about Star Wars on a podcast. I'm Ryan Daly, and welcome to...
And I'm the Irredeemable Shag.
Dude, what are you doing?
What?
Give Me Those Star Wars is my show.
Well, you're part of the Fire and Water Podcast Network, so it's really our show.
But if you show up on the promo, people will think you're the co-host.
I'm not?
No, the show will have rotating guests.
You just took that idea from my Justice League International podcast.
You took that idea from my Secret Origins podcast.
And you took that idea from Dead Bothan Spies.
That was my podcast.
Wait a minute. I sang the theme song with you.
So?
So, technically, I appear on every episode. I'm part of the foundation of this new Star Wars show.
That's true.
So, you want to take this from the top, or what?
I'm Ryan Daly. Join me and a galaxy of guest stars on Give Me Those... including the Irredeemable Shag, whose voice you will technically hear on every episode, on Give Me Those Star Wars.
The official Star Wars show of the Fire and Water Podcast Network.
Available on iTunes and Stitcher and at fireandwaterpodcast.com.
Aquaman and Firestorm fighting crime together. Soak 'em down or burn 'em up. No one does it better. Whenever you find trouble, they'll always be there to catch them in a bubble or even torch their hair. Stand for truth and justice in sea, on land, and air. Firestorm and Aquaman, they make a super pair.
The Fire and Water Podcast, celebrating Aquaman, King of the Seven Seas, and Firestorm, the Nuclear Man.
Available weekly on Aquaman Shrine, Firestorm Fan, and on iTunes and Stitcher.
I'm one of your hosts, the Irredeemable Shag, here to talk about Firestorm. Along with me is my co-host Rob Kelly, here to talk about some guy that talks to fish.
Really? You're going to pull this crap during the promo? Bad enough I have to put up with your shenanigans every week, but...
And we're back. So the next issue we're going to talk about is Superman number 229 from August of 1970. And the lead story is called The Ex-Superman.
What do you mean, former Superman? I don't know.
Oh, are you going to split hairs about this?
No, that's a Marine joke. Okay, cool splash panel with Superman tied up and being beaten up by this old geezer in a Superman outfit.
Weird.
Yeah.
So this is the second part of a two-parter, but when I first read it, I didn't even realize it. It worked so well standalone that it's just perfectly enjoyable.
I didn't know it was a two-parter. I thought it was just...
I didn't until I happened between us recording, or between me dropping this book off to you and us recording, I stopped in a comic shop, and because this is a coverless book, it's one of our return copies with no cover, and I saw a cover that looked like, oh, I bet that's this story. I opened it up, and it was a first part leading into this. I'm like, oh, I had no idea. Because we have this opening flashback that tells everything that's led up, and so it works just fine on its own.
Yeah.
So, if you would, do the recap.
Superman is naked inside this rocket, and he's being hurled into space.
Yeah.
And since, how did he get here? And he's going to his death, and it's kind of a downer. So he is skiing indoors, an artificial ski slope. It's not indoors, but people are in bathing suits, and
Jimmy and Lois are having fun while Clark is being a square.
Well, he has a headache,
Right.
And not a Clark Kent headache, a Superman headache, and he's not supposed to get headaches.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he can't fly, and he has to take a cap.
In his Superman outfit,
Yeah.
which has got to be embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. He bends this rail, and he gets worn out, and someone punches him out. So the criminals know about the anti-Superman gang, and they're offering $5 million, which is a heck of a lot of money. Then that'd be probably
This is
about
1970.
That
So
might be $100 million.
well, $5 million. It would be $100 million in 1970. Really?
From 1970 to this time.
Hmm.
Gallon of gas cost $0.25.
Okay, at this time, 1970, this comic book is probably 15 or 20 cents. Let's say 20, but I think it's 15. And so now comic books are $3.99. So do the math with that. So just go. Let's say it's 20 cents
No one told me there would be math.
in the debate. Yeah, I remember that. A bunch more. Okay, I would say that $5 million would be $50 million.
Okay.
But it's to get rid of Superman. So that seems a little low ball.
Yeah, I thought so too, but still a lot of money. So,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the inflation rate for comic books is the same as the inflation
not,
rate
but
for
I'm
getting
just-
rid of superheroes.
Right, but I'm just like, okay, here's something we know is the price of in this time. I know the comic book inflation rate is actually fairly exorbitant, especially over the last couple decades. But something comparative, I could say it is this price in 1970 and it is this price in 2016 to give a comparative thing.
But it's a nice
And you
chunk
ruined
of
my plan.
Okay. But it's a nice chunk of change.
Yeah.
So they send him up into space, and they take his outfit and
They auction it off.
Which is kind of cool.
So they're sending Superman to this planet,
Morgu, the execution world.
and they've terraformed it so it looks like a skull, which on the surface, which is crazy.
Okay.
And
So-
it gets crazier
Yep. All right. Here's this hero.
from someplace.
Dolgran, the ex-hero of the Tular galaxy. He's naked. They turn him to glass, and they have a big press smash him into little bits. And the guy, Lord Corpon, is watching and says, sort of, and not
Like-
good enough. And says, what do
Like-
you want?
Right? But like they want these crazy elaborate executions for everybody to have. So they tell Superman when he gets there, you get to have your choice of these crazy deaths. And so they give him a few examples here. And it's nuts. So on this planet, they're crazy about executing people. That's their thing.
They can be turned into, let's see, the ion vortex, where he's turned into dust. And Superman's kind of disgusted by that.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a jewel doom, where you put into a piece of jewelry.
Man. That doesn't seem that
Like
great.
a fly in amber or something
Yeah.
like that.
So there's this other one where they'll turn you into a plant and you'll die slowly.
Yeah.
And they use it on a giraffe. And it's kind of cruel and horrible.
Yeah, because it takes 48 hours
Yeah.
to kill it. And hyperchlorophyll is condemning it to a living death by transforming the icon, or what we call giraffe, to a flowering plant. It's just kind of...
So, but Superman sees that that's sprayed out in a dust. And he says, that's the one I want. And they're like, fool, that's the most excruciating agony, whatever. So the ray that will activate the hyperchlorophyll is also a thing. So as they're blowing out the dust, he runs in front of the thing away from it to escape, and it sprays the henchmen of Corpon or whatever.
So-
And they're dying, turning into trees. And Superman allowed these guys to die
Yeah.
and use their deaths to make a getaway. By the way, he doesn't have his powers.
Yeah,
That's
and
important.
he's wearing a kilt and some shoes, and that's it.
And I was saying before the show, this is such a Flash Gordon-y story because it really doesn't involve Superman using his powers.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, he doesn't gain them until the end.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
But it's really cool. Keep going.
He jumps into this pond with a lily pad
Off a cliff.
off a cliff, and he bounces around.
Yeah, they're like rubbery.
So finally, Bouncing Boy is useful as, I saw Bouncing Boy bounce around. I'll just do the same thing he did. And so he bounces around and gets away.
Yeah, I like any reference to the Legion.
Yeah.
I love Bouncing Boy. He's fun.
Yeah. And I like the fact that of all the things that the fans thought of, Bouncing Boy was the one chosen. It's sort of.
I think Matter Eater Lad was a fan letter, too.
Really?
Yeah. Come on. What grown-up would come up with a dumb idea like that? But they ran with it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the two of them, they're like, they have to be the constant inspiration and for the Substitute Legion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, many of the subs have cooler, more useful powers than them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really. You chose Bouncing Boy over me? Super. I don't know.
Come on, there are actual sub-legionnaires you could choose from. Polar Boy.
Yeah.
Polar Boy, it took him forever to get into the real Legion. And it's like, what? He has a real good power. He just didn't have, like, perfect control over it. And that was the excuse for keeping him out. But, like, you can work on it. And he did.
Superman's made mistakes with it. And so
but like Fire Lad and Chlorophyll Kid and Night Girl, they're all pretty cool.
I couldn't remember any of these. So, but I don't know. So Superman escapes, and he meets this guy in a Superman outfit. It says, "What gives?" The guy in the outfit is Supro, and he smacks the crap out of him, and they start fighting. And
it's a pretty great fight.
Yeah,
because it's nice when Superman can just get in a slugfest with somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it wasn't so commonplace. Yeah, Supro was the mightiest among this tribe. Mm-hmm. And then Superman kind of gets tangled up in some vines.
And the backlash tree.
Yeah.
That's great.
But then he kicks Supro in the face, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And then Supro gives him the costume because if you're the mightiest warrior...
And he does it cool. I mean, he loses and he's a gentleman about it. I like that.
And then Supro, or the former Supro, tells him how... I guess the Superman forgot that he had saved some people from a planet and brought them here eons ago.
How can you forget that? But he's got super memory.
But maybe it was
he lost his super memory because he lost his superpower.
Oh, that's it. But also, it could have been like, it's obviously a time travel story.
Oh, it might be in the future.
Or something he hasn't done yet.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be that. But in the future, he saved these people from an ancient time and brought them to this world. Oh, that's complicated. But but anyway, but I was thinking maybe because sometimes you lose memory from something that happened. You went into the ancient past. I don't know. But anyway, he jumps off a scaffolding and kind of glides down.
Yeah, with wings on.
That's a thing.
And
so there's like a cult of death or whatever, and people are going into this giant flaming skull.
Yeah. Corpon needs a beautiful maiden for sacrifice. They always pick the beautiful ones,
Yeah.
Can't you get a plain Jane or something?
Right?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Your evil god that you're sacrificing to probably isn't going to know the difference.
Yeah, the Lord of Destruction.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
They don't play.
Yeah, man, yeah.
But I love this giant blazing skull furnace that they're throwing people into.
Yeah. And so he tries to save her, but he can't. So, Superman doesn't know what to do, so he bounces. He climbs a tree and jumps in because there's this force field around him that's deadly to touch.
Yeah,
and he goes in there and says, "Oh, she's gone. She's already been pushed in there." And
he's like laughing hysterically because he's like, "Great Superman, he couldn't save her," and he's losing it.
She thought I was super, and all the time I was just a clown dressed in a raggedy super costume. What a horrible jest. Oh, I have never seen Superman laugh maniacally at something in horror,
Yeah, he's cracking up. Like, it's like he's losing it. And then she comes up out of nowhere and slaps him. And he felt it.
Yeah. And it's Supergirl. Yay!
Yeah, she was in disguise.
Mm-hmm. And
she explains how she jumped in the furnace, but then came out and kicked the crap out of all these guys. She came here to rescue Superman.
Yeah. And, all right, you rats, let's see you execute me. It's Supergirl. She's Superman's ally. No need to fear her. Like Superman, she also has a code against killing.
But apparently, at least in this story, they don't have a code against watching people die and doing nothing about it.
Yeah, because they says, "Oh, you've allowed Supergirl to mock and ridicule Lord God of Death. There's only one way to appease her wrath," and
So they just march to their deaths,
yeah.
and she lets them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right?
I'm kind of, she's, oh, well, this is sad, but
No.
I would have done the same. I
Well,
mean, these are fanatical killing machines.
Yeah, but Superman, everyone's life is valuable.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Anyway,
No.
so Supergirl, the bunch of exposition later.
The female is deadlier than the male.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, stop. Okay, so there's a bunch of exposition of explaining all the crap that happened, and they leave.
Yeah, that's about it. And he gets his powers back.
Yeah.
And, okay, so that's just kind of...
Did they explain why he lost them in the first place?
They disappeared, and,
Was it because of a solar flare or something weird like that?
yeah, something.
But then how would she have gained... okay.
They leave. Oh, he moves them to some place, and they say, "Oh, this is too dangerous, so we got to leave." So then he comes back and checks on them. They're gone. And says, "Oh," so they moved to another planet. So
Okay.
He helped them before, but so they moved, and that's why I forgot.
Okay.
All right.
So the back... Oh, we got a cool house ad.
Yeah.
Jimmy Olsen.
Oh man.
It's a giant, too.
The wings that made Jimmy a bird boy. The cabinet from Krypton that turned Jimmy into an old man. I love it when they turn into old men. The burglar kit from the future. The magic wand of the Animal Master. The amazing spectacles of Dr. X. Man. The unwanted Superman souvenirs. There are no unwanted Superman souvenirs. Everybody wants... Oh, man.
So that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right, so the backup story, which I suspect is a reprint, but
Yeah.
I can't confirm because I didn't have internet access at the time,
Mm-hmm.
is called Clark Kent, Assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now the art is by Wayne Boring, who was my number 2 Superman artist.
Yeah.
It's also why I feel it's a reprint.
Right. Okay. We have a... Perry White is being honored for his 25 years at the Daily Planet by Batman.
What?
Yeah. And they gave him this plaque, so everyone's going to sign it with a diamond, which is an interesting idea that's never done in real life.
Because it wouldn't work.
So Clark Kent has signed it, but Superman hasn't. So how does Clark get out of there? He upsets a waiter carrying ice cream. So he knocks ice cream over him and himself, and he gets a cold. So I gotta go.
People are like, an instant cold? What a wiener, like.
Yeah, how can a man be so frail?
Yeah.
Oh man! So Superman comes and he signs it as well.
He doesn't use the diamond; he uses his fingernail,
Mm-hmm.
which is gross when you think about it. Superman having a long, gross coke finger, like ew.
Oh, if it's his regular length and he doesn't bite his fingernails, it'd be long enough to do what he wants to do.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So also, there's a weird Kryptonian satellite from Kandor that Superman's supposed to do some translating on, but he's busy. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just chilling in his apartment.
Yeah. There must be there must be factories making Kryptonian devices because they're all over the universe. He finds them all the time.
I thought I got this one from Kandor. I
Oh,
thought.
was it?
Maybe I was wrong.
Oh, no, it's found in
Yeah.
Kandor. It's ancient because it's an ancient writing, so you can't read it. So he takes off his glasses and bangs it on there, which I didn't notice, but it has complications later on.
Yeah.
Suddenly, we're back at Perry White's place, and Clark is hiding out, and he takes a knife and throws it at Perry, and he hits the sign.
What's weirder, though, is this knife, which is not made of diamond, sticks into the metal plaque.
Yeah, unless it's lead or something.
I don't know.
Or unless it's a super... Yeah. But, it can stick in there if it's Superman throwing it.
Oh, but see, nobody notices that.
Yeah.
But what's weird is Perry White has this collection of weapons
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I don't recall ever being referenced before.
Yep, and never again.
There's a lot of that stuff.
there's a rare dagger missing from a weapons collection. Oh, okay. So Superman comes in. He looks like he's standing sideways here.
You'll see that a lot, the way Wayne Boring will draw Superman flying into a window. I almost feel like he just turns the artboard and draws him standing up. You know what I mean?
Why not? He doesn't like flap his arms or something like that. He can, I mean, if he wants to fly in a ball or arms akimbo, it doesn't matter. So, you know.
It's true. But this is just me. I think that might be what Wayne Boring used to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Perry explains to Superman that Clark is being a weirdo, tried to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're in the morgue at the paper, and Clark and Superman are talking to each other. But how can this be?
Yeah. Clark makes a cardboard cutout of him. I mean, Superman makes a cardboard cutout of Clark, and they have a conversation.
Yeah, and then everyone just sees the silhouette through the door, which is funny.
Yeah.
And Superman takes the old printing plates and makes Perry a bulletproof vest.
Oh, man. This is great.
Now, and this is the days when those printing plates were like big, heavy things.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked on a printing press, they were thin plates of aluminum that we put around a cylinder.
Yeah.
But I do know that in days of yore, they were heavier stuff.
Yeah. So when Superman puts on the Clark Kent outfit, he becomes evil again. So then he gets a gun out.
Right.
And he shoots him, and he hits a sign again.
Yeah, weird.
And Perry White is more mad than anything else.
Yeah, he doesn't seem that afraid. He's like, "Oh, Clark again! Get the hell out of here!" You know?
Yeah. Oh man, here it comes again with the sideways Superman.
Yeah.
And two.
I'm telling you, I think Wayne Boring tilted his artboard to draw Superman flying.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's panel 1. He's flying in. Panel 2, he's flying out. And he's both sideways. And this looks like the same painting almost.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah. I love it, but it's weird.
Yeah.
So Superman's worried that he doesn't know what's going on. I don't remember trying to kill Perry White.
Right.
So I'll make Perry White. That armor didn't work, so I'll make him more armor. So
he makes him like a medieval suit of armor, which is crazy. And there are police guarding him now too.
Yeah,
but that's crazy.
Yeah. So he so he puts on his Clark Kent, then again turns evil again. Let's see. He makes a miniature time bomb. And he throws a bomb, and Perry is in his the knight's outfit.
Smoking a cigar, of course.
Reading, doing work. And he throws in a grenade.
Clark does.
Yeah.
And it blows up right in Perry's face, but he's protected because of the armor. Which, by the way, a grenade would probably blow apart medieval armor. It wouldn't be bulletproof.
Some of it was kind of depends on the bullets and blah blah blah.
And
I would not want to try it.
Yeah,
it's possible, but
plus this is a comic book about an invincible man from outer space,
right.
so that's a thing too.
So,
perspective is important.
So let's see. Perry White gets in the helicopter and flies off.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
He gets in the helicopter to fly home. He's going to take the helicopter to his house.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, you know that as in
you're going to land it in your backyard?
Mechanics. Yeah, have your own helicopter and take you back and forth to work. And it doesn't because helicopters they blow wind and it takes a long big space for them to land and not a huge space, not like an airliner, but still. And most people don't have that. And they're kind of loud, so...
Yeah. Can you imagine? You'd be like, my neighbor.
Yeah.
Stupid Tom and his helicopter.
Yeah. And he works the graveyard shift. No! He's... Superman comes back and he looks at the artifacts. Hey!
The Kryptonian satellite?
This is a hypnotic device.
Oh,
There's
crap.
a warning. Beware, contact with dipoles releases radiation called sleepwalking. Okay.
So, and he touched the Clark glasses to it. So,
They got radiated.
correct. So whenever he's wearing the Clark Kent glasses, he's nuts.
Yeah, he might be a sleepwalker.
Yeah.
But the sleepwalking had a purpose because Superman made a boo-boo. He signed Perry White's metal sign.
Hit the plaque in Clark's handwriting.
Yeah.
And so he was subconsciously trying to destroy that, not Perry, to cover his ass.
Yeah. So
he melts it with his heat vision, I think, right?
Right. Oh no, he has a heat gun or something.
Oh, that's right.
And
Clark
he fixes
does this.
it. Yep.
And then Superman clears things up with Clark. Oh, it was stuff. What? How does Clark get off the hook?
He says, "Oh, I just woke up." So, okay. Some unknown master criminal must have hypnotized you to try to kill me. So he wakes up and everything's cool.
Okay. Well, that was weird.
Yeah, it was.
And he sends the device back to Kandor, and we're done with that crap.
It's kind of like the Superboy thing.
Yeah.
And but the Superboy, I usually like Superman better, but I like the Superboy better this time.
Yeah.
I enjoy the hell out of these. I love them all. So
yeah, I did like that. I liked reading that story.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about it, not so much.
Yeah, because we got to explain a lot of stupid stuff.
Yeah, because it's lots of tiny details.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, Comic Reflections is recorded in Portland, Oregon, and produced by Sean Roof. Until next time.
We'll see you in the funny pages.
And please stay tuned for a moment for our credits. The credits for the comic books discussed on this episode are as follows. Superboy number 107, cover dated September of 1963, should have hit the stands, according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics, on July 3rd, 1963. The cover art was penciled by Kurt Swan and inked by George Klein. The lead interior story, The Superboy Club of Smallville, was written by Jerry Siegel, penciled by Kurt Swan, and inked by George Klein. The first of two backup stories, The Great Baroni, was written by Jerry Siegel, penciled and inked by Al Plastino. And the third story in this issue, Clark Kent, The Super Show-Off, was written by Jerry Siegel, penciled and inked by George Papp. Now, the second issue we talked about today, Superman number 229, cover dated August of 1970, according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics, hit the stands June 18th, 1970. The cover art was penciled by Kurt Swan and inked by Murphy Anderson. The lead story in this issue, The Ex-Superman, was written by Leo Dorfman, penciled by Kurt Swan, and inked by George Rousseau. The backup story, Clark Kent, Assassin, was written by Leo Dorfman, with penciled and inked by Wayne Boring. Two notes about this story. Aside from Wayne Boring's art, the Lois Lane heads were redrawn by Kurt Schaffenberger, and contrary to my suspicion that this story was a reprint, it is not. It is original to this issue, although it should be noted the 1970 Wayne Boring comic book output was significantly less than it had been in the two preceding decades, and he was edging towards semi-retirement at this point in his career. One more thing before I sign off. I want to start getting into a habit of reading some of our iTunes reviews on air, and I will read one or excerpts from it right now. Yup Frank writes, "Nobody knows more about comic history. Comic Reflections is a show all about comic book history. If you give this show a listen, you will understand that you are messing with a comic book historian, and it makes for a very educational podcast. Give it a listen." Well, thank you, Yup Frank. That's very flattering. I would certainly say that there plenty of others who know more about comic book history, but I do try, and thank you. This is Comic Reflections. Until next time, we'll see you in the funny pages.
Black Canary.
I'll need a sparring partner.
I'm Zatanna. Why do you care about some leggy dame in nylons? Or have I answered my own question? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for magic.
Black Canary and Zatanna, together in one podcast. I'm Ryan Daly, and I've got a thing for superheroes in fishnet stockings. That's why I started Power of Fishnets, the Black Canary and Zatanna podcast. Join me every 2 weeks as I celebrate the Blonde Bombshell and the Mistress of Magic in their exciting adventures published by DC Comics. Power of Fishnets, available on iTunes and at fireandwaterpodcast.com. Superman, Blue Beetle, Captain Marvel, Firestorm, the Crimson Avenger, Batman, Halo, Guy Gardner, the Sandman, Shadow Lass, Dollman, the Star-Spangled Kid, the Flash, the Phantom Stranger, Power Girl, Hawkman, Fury, the Challengers of the Unknown, Nightwing, the Whip, Johnny Thunder, the Suicide Squad, Deadman, the Spectre, Warlock, Amazing Man, Hourman, Adam Strange, Dr. Occult, the Doom Patrol, Captain Comet, Creeper, Green Lantern, Uncle Sam, the Guardian, Batgirl, Dr. Mid, Jonah Hex, Black Khan, the Manhunter, the Guardians of the Floronic, Blue Devil, Dr. Fate, the Legion of Super, the Secret Origins podcast, covering every issue of DC's Secret Origins comic from the 1980s. Hosted by Ryan Daly and a multitude of guests from the podcast and blogging community. Secret Origins podcast. Find it on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at fireandwaterpodcast.com.